2NURFM.com, a broadcast service of the University of Newcastle.
What do you get when you put an atmospheric scientist in a room and give them a project with a historian? Well, you get an excellent little book called Smoky City, A History of Air Pollution in Newcastle. It's our great pleasure to welcome Conjoint Associate Professor Howard Bridgman to the studio. Professor Bridgman, hello and welcome. And what made you and Nancy Cushing, the historian, get together and write this book? Why this book at this time?
Good morning, Meryl. Newcastle has always had a reputation as a smoky city. If people, particularly people who've lived in Newcastle for 15 or more years, will remember the era of heavy industry where lots of smoke came out into the atmosphere and at times didn't look like there's anything that was being done about it. We combined, because Nancy's concept associated with all of this analysis is perceptions and how people look at things. My concept is a little bit of the science and what actually happened in terms of the emissions and the inventories. That's what we've done with this book.
Can you tell me really why, though? Why did you want to write the book?
We felt it was necessary to write the book because we thought the public would want to know a little bit about the history of the Smoky City in terms of the pollution problems in the city, but because people had lived with this problem for so long. We've now gone a long way to resolve this problem. There's still some problems, some difficulties, but we've gone a long way. A lot of the heavy industry is gone now. A lot of the major sources are gone now. There's still some leftovers I've mentioned, but the history and the pictures we show in this book just are really quite incredible in terms of the smoky periods.
When was our air the most polluted? Is it now? When was it? Yeah. We think from our analysis that the 1930s leading up to the war was the worst period for pollution. The city, the industrial part of the city, was gearing up for war effort. A lot of the local industries were expanding. You had many new sources in terms of possible pollution. Lots of harbor activities with the boats and the ships. And of course BHP was in full swing. None of those industries had any kind of air pollution emissions control at that time. And in fact, that concept wasn't even thought of. The economics of the situation, the gearing for the war effort, the workforce, the ability to make money was the primary reason why we had so much pollution in the city. Juxtaposed, I guess, against the mentality and the thinking of today, where people are very concerned about particulate in the air and the quality of their air. In those days there was less knowledge perhaps and less of a worry about that. Is that what you've found as well, looking at the social aspects of pollution in the city?
That's right. That's quite correct. People accepted pollution as a way of life because pollution was an indication of economic benefit, of jobs, of the fact that we had good employment and production output and helping the country, particularly associated with the war. It wasn't really until the 1960s, when the clean air laws in New South Wales were actually passed, that people began to seriously consider ways of reducing the particle emissions, the dust and the smoke that came out into this atmosphere. But it took quite a long time, and even into the 1990s, before BHP shut down, and there's a couple of photos in the book that shows this, there were still some quite serious particle pollution emissions episodes associated with the heavy industry, the BHP. This all disappeared in 1999. It's ironic that this year is the 100th anniversary of the opening of BHP in Newcastle.
Yes.
But in 1999, BHP shut down, and there was an immediate improvement in air quality.
Yes, and just in closing, you've got lots of historical information, lots of graphs in the book. Where does this book finish? Does it finish today, or what's the timeline on this?
Well, in some ways, this book is a timeline, a step, okay?
Yes.
It doesn't really finish because we've got other things that are going on. We've got the coal loader situation. We've got the train situation that's controversial in terms of the particle emissions. Now, we're running a workshop on all of this on Friday, the 24th, at the Art Gallery here at the university. The public's invited to that. They can come. And this book will be launched on Thursday evening at 4:30 at the Art Gallery here at the university. Public's invited. They can come. We hope they'll buy lots of copies of the book.
So, Howard, tell me this much. With that workshop that you have running, if people want more information about that, where can they go to get that?
If they want more information and details of the workshop, go to www.casanza.org/ANZAA.
Okay, that's pretty complex. We might have a note of that here if you're driving or you just didn't get that down in time, because it's understandable if you haven't. Dr. Howard Bridgman, congratulations on your book with Nancy Cushing, Smoky City: A History of Air Pollution in Newcastle.